What just did some weird thing. Can you see me?
I don't know. I'll tell you in a second. It's still setting up the live.
Crap, stencil.
All righty. Welcome back, everybody. I cannot see you, Matt. Oh, there you are. Hello, Matt. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Alan?
Awesome. Yes, sir. Today is January 21st, 2026. Today is a Wednesday. I got my date right. Woo!
Hey, all right.
It still feels like a Friday to me, but hey, at least I know it's Wednesday. The holiday threw me off, like the Monday was off and kind of messed me up. So
Well, you got it right. Here you are.
I got it right. So market's up today nicely, 0.5%. Oil's up, dollar's up, gold is up 2%. VIX is slightly down. We got up to like 20 something, 2021 almost. But right now we're at 18.6. Bitcoin is back below 90. And actually, gold is up, but silver's down 1%. So not a big deal. But interesting stuff going on. Lots of things going on.
I will say so. Right?
Connor says we got a market power winner day. Yes, sir. Ring that bell, baby.
We did. He said in the comments that we're getting spoiled, and to a degree we do get spoiled, when you put a trade on and you get up as soon as the bell rings the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Especially,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So
The
we'll
first
take
thing
them.
in the morning, um, sometimes, I'm still asleep when the bell rang at 8:30 in the morning. And I wake up and be like, oh,
Oh,
right,
you
we
made
added
some
the
money.
trade. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go back to bed. And my wife's like, get your butt up. Because she's up at like, 6 with the kids and dropping lunch, making lunch. And then she sees me just,
There's
and
always
she,
one early bird in the family, right? It's one that likes to sleep in and one's the early bird.
oh man, I would sleep 12 hours if you let me. Oh
Yep, I'm
man.
more in the night owl. I like being the night owl.
Actually, I'm not a night owl anymore. I just go to
Oh, you
sleep
can't
early
be.
and I wake up late.
I'm too old to be a night owl.
All
Right.
right. Okay. And yeah, so a lot of stuff going on. Did you notice, Matt, that it is getting cold?
Yes, it is. So cold, I am drinking tea right now
All right.
in Florida.
In Florida, it's nice
Yep.
and cold. Actually, yeah, so natural gas is up 75% in the last 2 days.
Woo.
And that is why they call it the Widowmaker.
Hmm.
75%, almost double in 2 days. It's probably going to keep going up because of this major storm that we're having across the East Coast
Yeah,
and
unusual.
Midwest.
Unusual.
It's snowing everywhere. In here in Houston, I don't know if we're going to get snow, but it's going to be freezing. And they say North Carolina, it's going to be a foot of snow this weekend, and they've never had snow in some of those areas before, or not for a while at least. So that's interesting.
Now,
And
the worst is ice, in my opinion. Right. So then you can have, what if these areas are without power for a week? Right. So it's quite
yeah,
possible.
hmm yeah, that's when it gets really dangerous. Um, and so that will, I mean, the more like, it's great that the natural gas is up and whatever for people who are long natural gas, but they call it the Widowmaker because of these quick, crazy moves. And nothing goes up 75% in 2 days unless there are a lot of people short and they're getting squeezed.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pain in the commodity space right now. Um, Michael's saying that Nashville expects 20 inches of snow.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's unbelievable. Wow.
I have
And
flashbacks to when I lived in Atlanta and we had the big snowpocalypse, which really was like an inch of ice, and they're calling for like 1 to 2 inches of ice in Atlanta. So I can only imagine, you know, how they're going to deal with that.
yeah. Yeah. So, the last few years, there is one stock that has been really making a lot of money off of this, and that is Generac.
Yeah, we
Uh,
talked about privately about Generac quite a bit.
yes,
Maybe.
everybody is like, hey, I need oh, Matt, you got some video issues there. But yeah, everybody's, in their homes, like everybody's like, I need one of these because the system is just not there. The electric, we had in Texas a few years ago, we had, the power was out for days and people died. And it's now I can see the people on my street. Like back then, nobody had a Generac. Now there's actually a backup of people. You get a Generac now, it's going to take you months before they can actually install it because there's so many people that have put in permits and the city has to go in and do inspections and this and that, and they don't have enough people to do that. So it's taking forever for people to get their Generacs.
Yep.
Um, so I think that's happening across the board everywhere,
And they are
across the
not
country.
cheap as Generacs, right? I think they're
No,
about
no. But it's not cheap. But like if you're at home and if you're older, and you can't leave, or you're on some kind of ventilator or oxygen or whatnot, and more people are becoming that way, health reasons, because they're living older, but people are also getting very fat, and
Mhm.
they can't leave and they can't move around, and you know, uh, so because of that reason, they also need to stay home and they also need power. If you can't, you're in trouble. So interesting situation. Um, there is a stock that we talked about last year that has since doubled. Can you guess what it is?
Ooh, since doubled from last year.
Yes, we talked about it because it was part of the Trump trade. The Trump trade that was not a taco. It wasn't part of the
Mm,
taco.
so many things have moved.
Five, four, three,
Eli Lilly.
two, no,
No,
one,
I don't know. I
and
don't remember.
Intel.
Oh, Intel, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Connor got it. Connor got it. He got it. Intel, yes. Trump and the US government bought in right around $24 and currently is trading at $54. And they got earnings coming up on, let's see here, very soon here.
Well, they kind of nationalized it.
Yeah, so earnings, it's not telling me exactly when it is, but it's in a day or two. And so, right now the semiconductors and the RAM makers are doing really good. So Western Digital, SanDisk, um, Micron,
Microns and ripping.
all shooting higher, crazy
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah.
Um, and so Intel since then has been doing really well. I don't know. I haven't heard any news about it, but um, and so Connor's saying that he's been selling puts on it and it's been working great. So
There
congrats.
you
That's
go.
awesome. Great
There you
job.
go.
Um, what else? So Michael's
Yeah,
saying tomorrow. Intel earnings is tomorrow. Yeah.
tomorrow.
So I knew it was close. He just wouldn't tell me. But so good to know. 54 probably heading a little bit higher. Um, what else? The Trump is in Davos today. He did make a speech. Yesterday we had a big drop, right? We had a 2% drop yesterday.
It's a big one.
Um, because of dun, dun, dun,
Greenland.
more tariffs. Like I'm gonna put tariffs on you until you give me what I want. Wah, wah, wah. Okay.
Well, that's what he had a speech this morning.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it's a very powerful thing. Like, hey, I'm gonna charge you money until you give me what I want. So I'm 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 surprised no other president has ever done this. Like, so
yeah,
far
yeah,
it's
he's
effective
boom, for
to some
sure.
degree. And so yeah, so the market sold off yesterday because of new tariffs on Europe and everybody that's dealing with Iran, which is like, either you're dealing with Europe or you're dealing with Iran. That's like the whole world. So it's
Pretty
I'm
much.
gonna put tariffs on everybody.
Yeah.
Um, and then so that was that. And then today, luckily, in his speech, he said that that he's not going to take military action.
Right. And then the market pretty much, it improved as soon as he said that. I think they were kind of waiting. Most of the market was kind of like, is he going to use military force? But it's just, it doesn't mean we're out of the woods, right? It's just like
Oh no.
he's part of the deal, this guy. So he's putting the pressure on him. He's saying that for now, but will he use military force? Possibly, right? Possibly.
It's just I know. I mean, his biggest weapon is talking, talking, making threats, saying stuff. Does he mean it? Does he not mean it? Oh no, catching the other side off guard. And it's interesting. He just throws so many snowballs at you that it's like an automatic snowball shooter. He just showed shooting everywhere. So hopefully, do we go to war with Europe? I don't know. I don't think so. Um, he did mention that it wasn't him, but it was on a tweet that there was some island that was controlled by the UK, and there was a military base there, and the UK gave it back to Mauritius. I think that's how you say it, the
Hmm.
country of Mauritius. And since that happened, where he's like, we have one less base in the vicinity in the area, so we need to be more fortified. Um, I don't know what he sees that he thinks that Greenland is that important. Um, so if Greenland is there, Iceland's right next to it. Do we need Iceland too? I don't know.
Right. It's like all of a sudden every country's like, okay, even Canada, they're like, are we next? I
Oh,
mean, it's,
Canada's in
yeah,
China right now.
yeah, I
The
know.
Canada Prime Minister went to China to talk deal
Mhm.
because he's like, I can't trust the US anymore. I need to sell my stuff somewhere. Um, Speaking of Canada, the CCJ Chemical Corp is
Mhm.
all-time high today.
Yeah.
Uranium has been kicking butt. Trump actually made a comment today that we're all in on nuclear power. And so uranium and the uranium miners, which Cameco is one of the biggest ones in the world. They're a Canadian company. That one all-time high and doing really, really well. So that's something else that's working. What's not working is the AI micro hyperscalers or whatever they call them. The Amazon, the big seven, big eight, big nine, whatever. Include throwing Nvidia in there. It's not, you know, those stocks are not working. But a lot of stuff is. Gold all-time high today, 48.52. So that keeps going up. Of
Yeah.
course,
I mean,
anytime,
to see it rip yesterday. Ooh, wow. I mean,
yeah, anytime you have talk of a war or issues or problems, that's where people fly to. And I saw a graph this morning of China's gold stocks compared to how much they have in treasuries, U.S. treasuries. So they have the highest amount of gold that they've had in 20 years, and they have the lowest amount of U.S. treasuries that they've had in 20 years.
right. And
Like it
who didn't, was it, who dropped the buying of the bonds? Was it Denmark? I think they,
for because of Greenland, yeah, it was Denmark.
yeah, they dumped the whole their pension funds and
Yeah,
bond.
they sold
Yeah.
everything. They're like, hey, we don't want any U.S. bonds, any U.S. treasuries because we don't.
Yeah.
So there's always a cost, right? You can play with words, you can make threats, you can try to manipulate, but um, there's a cost. Yesterday, the market was down 2%. Somebody asked Trump about it today. He called it peanuts. He goes, "Oh, that's peanuts.
Of
That's no
course.
big deal." He goes, the market is so strong, we're gonna double. The market's gonna double anytime now. We're gonna
Yeah.
very soon we're gonna double. So hopefully,
And a GDP of 20%. right?
I don't know about that, but hey, if the market doubles, that's great. I like it. As long as we don't have a lot of inflation. Uh, oh, speaking of inflation, we do have the Supreme Court talking about the Lisa Cook, is it Cook? I don't know, Lisa
Yeah.
Cook or
Mhm.
Linda Cook. And based on the questions that they were asking and the Supreme Court justices, it does look like she's going to be fine, and Trump will not be firing her or not be allowed to fire her.
Yeah, he probably would if he could.
I mean, that was the whole point. He's trying to fire her because of this, but they're asking her what is the cause. Like, according to the act, the Federal Reserve Act, he can fire for, for cause or dereliction of duty, or something that they're messing up on the job. But he doesn't have any proof that she has done anything on the job that has that would cause her to be removed.
Right.
Um, and so that argument's continuing, but it does look like, from what the Supreme Court justices were saying and how they were talking to the prosecutor, they were not happy with this case. They're like, come on, man, get the heck out of here. So hopefully that will give some, and I think that's also why the market is higher today, because it gives, it reaffirms the Fed's independence.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
mean,
probably the strongest thing that
checks
we
and
need.
balances need to be there, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really kind of the dollar is all important, right? And how it's going right now, for
Yeah.
sure.
So the dollar is actually up again today, and it's actually very low. Um, so it's actually very close to a 52-week low, um, in terms of where it has in the past. And you know, um, that makes sense because they're lowering rates. So whenever they lower the rates, the dollar gets weaker, and gold will go up, and commodities will go up. So that's kind of happening. But you do have continued issues with the BRICS and trying to get around the dollar. So that is definitely increasing.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know.
I don't think, the way he's talking at Davos, it really helps the case. I mean, right? You just sit there and, you know, belittle other countries. They're going to find a way to get off the dollar at some point.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, we saw it today, right? So
Hmm.
I think it's there, and um, the trend's pretty disturbing, right? Because, if we get off they need that appetite for those bonds, for that U.S. debt.
Because the debt is still getting higher. It's still increasing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big problem, huge problem.
And
So
if
how do
the
we solve that? And he talked today about growing out of it, right? It's like I'm not so sure you can. I may be wrong, but like, do you see us growing out of this problem?
there's there's possibility of that in technology, right? Technology, or some new technology that comes. Like the internet came and changed a lot of stuff. All our
Mhm.
lives are different.
For sure.
um, if AI can come and robotics can come and self-driving can come, yes, things can be very, very different 10 years from now. Elon Musk predicts probably 3 years. There's another guy, Ray Kurzweil. He's a very famous futurist. He predicts by the end of 2030 that AI will be dominant enough and smart enough that we might not need money in
Right.
some degree.
Yeah, that's the whole question, right? So it's like, are we moving to a new system? What is that system? What does it look like? Right? In my mind, we have we're the reserve currency, so are they pushing stable coins to get the debt out there across to places that couldn't buy the US debt, right? So it's like we're all trying to figure out where is this going, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So with robotics, with AI, could we grow out of it? Maybe. If we become the robot seller to the world, kind of like we're the, the arms dealer. For a long time, we were the arms dealer to the world.
Mhm.
If we become the robot seller to the world, then yeah, we might be able to grow out of it at that point. But we're not the only ones making robots. China's making them, Japan's making them, and they're
Right. So it's
actually
the
they're actually
control
ahead of
list,
us. Yeah. So
even though Trump says we're ahead of them.
yeah, I mean, you could the evidence is there, and so even then, like you still need allies. You know, um, somebody that you don't like or somebody you've been putting down for years, they're still not going to buy the robots from you if they could buy a similar robot from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, uh, but
Well, and then we're also talking about AI, taking jobs, right? So white collar jobs, and you have it's a balance, right? So how's that going to work out?
yeah, that's already happening,
Already happening, right?
and getting worse. Um, so, ah, that's sad.
There's always hope in sadness. There, you have to be the optimist. I think most people
It's
are.
going to be hard for a few years until people can get the hang of it. Because I was listening to somebody else and they're talking about meaning. Like we all need meaning in our lives. It's like, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And for the longest time, a lot of us, we do that based on our position, our job.
Mhm.
Like, hey, Matt, like, hey, Matt, tell me about you. Oh, well, I'm a trader. Oh,
Yep.
I'm a coach. No, nobody says, hey, I'm a husband. I'm a father. Some people might say father, but nobody starts off with like, oh yeah, I'm a son. No,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
the
like the after your what you do. It's like, secondary.
yeah.
Well, they say it as secondary, right?
hmm
Yeah.
And so if that's not there anymore, what happens? Like
Yeah.
I go to this book club at the library, and everybody's in there is retired. They're all female. They're all women, and almost all of them are retired. Because I guess only retired people have time to read. I guess. And they're like, yeah. So they're going from thing to thing. Some at the hospital, volunteering at the hospital, volunteering at the library, volunteering over here, doing this, doing that. And it's interesting their thought process versus my thought process as somebody who works or who does something, like who's trying to build something during the day.
Right.
Um,
I think that's always going to be there. So I think it's almost kind of dangerous. We talk about, if there's, I don't, is there a world where we don't need money, right? And if so, like I know you talked about it, people just get creative, but can they just be creative on their own without the use of money? Is that possible?
the closest thing I've ever seen to that is Star Trek. You know,
Yeah.
in Star Trek, they had the computer that would make them everything. They didn't have to work, and it was like computer, tea, hot. Phew, and,
Yeah.
and that's it. But in another Star Trek series, because they have multiple series, right? In another Star Trek series, they did have money. In what is it called? Deep Space Nine, they actually had money, and there were gambling casinos and people, and there was the Ferengi who are really greedy and they're always trying to get money. So you have Star Trek, the original series, where there's no money at all, and everybody's peace, like there's peace on Earth, and everybody can go follow whatever direction they want to go in their life. And then there's the universe, which still has money. So I was like confused. Like, what happened?
Yeah. Right.
I think even in Star Trek, they wanted to get away from money, but they couldn't really wrap their minds around it.
Yeah. I don't know if you take a greedy person who's just greedy, right? And never mind the money. They're just greedy. If we have a world that's money doesn't need to be, did they change from being greedy in a way?
Yeah,
No, I mean, I don't think so.
it's like capitalism goes away, and then everybody's a
Problems are still
socialist
there,
or
is
a
what I'm saying.
communist or something. I'm not
Right.
sure which one it is, but everybody is equal. Everybody gets the same thing. Um, but then what happens to? I still think there'll still be money. I think it might just be to the point where the basics are met. It's like, okay, you get free power, you get a certain amount of money for food, blah, blah, blah. But above that, you still have to earn somehow.
Yeah.
And that might be by creating music or creating art or giving us having a skill or, being a carpenter and building stuff for people. And then that will allow you to, because there's also stuff that's still limited, right? Now you might have unlimited money and unlimited computing power, but there's only so many cruise ships in the world.
Mhm.
There's only so many people that are allowed that can get to Everest, right? Because it's limited. Eventually everybody's going to want to go to Hawaii, but you can't because there's a limit. So then the price of going there will be increased. And so the richer people will be edging out the poorer people. So there'll still be that hierarchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
It's
think it'll take away the fact where people are like, I don't have enough money to earn, or I'm homeless, or I don't have money to eat. I think that might be wiped away, which is great for society. But the effect of, the people who are really wealthy, that will always be there.
yeah, that's interesting.
So
Yeah, because I mean, it is good for society that we're at a certain level, right? That people are, I mean, like you have your middle class that's doing well, right? And then you're not polarized as you are, where we find ourselves now, right? So a function of the money. It's going to be interesting how it plays out for sure.
cool beans. All right. So that's it for what's going on today. How are you trading this market? What are
So
you
like,
looking for?
I think in times like this, right? It's very important not to get emotional, right? And get caught up in the emotion of like a 1 day move like we had, right? I think it's important to step back, look what you have on that or any trades that you're currently on, right? Make a plan for them for you should already have the plan about if they go bad, but just kind of reaffirm yourself about where you are and what you're going to do. Um, and then I think it is a good idea to, in situations like this, maybe even pause just a little bit, right? It doesn't have to be long, but maybe a little bit to figure out what you're going to do, the next trades you're going to put on, right? As this process evolves, right? Because we had a huge jump in the VIX, right? And then it comes down. Um, will it stay that way? No, probably not. But I think it's wise to just pause a little bit and kind of think about what you're going to do next in a way.
Hmm.
Like you don't have to be putting on trades all the time is my point.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that, we've had Trump for 1 year now, and he has led all of the headlines, you know.
And we know this from before. I mean, from his
Right.
first, it's not
Right.
like
So
new.
it's happening again, but even now, we've had it for a year. Even if you weren't trading, the first term, you've seen what's happened in the last year. And he makes headlines, multiple headlines every day, and that is impacting the markets, it is impacting the sectors, it's impacting certain companies on a day-to-day basis. And so I feel that we're going to have 3 more years of this, right? At least this year until the midterms. We'll see what happens after the midterms. If he'll still make headlines, but if the Democrats get more seats, then he won't have the political power to back up his stuff. But I think that because of what we've seen, it, it behooves us to maybe move to a shorter trade time frame, meaning like one of my friends was saying that he sells puts, but he does it on monthlies. He'll do it monthly on stocks that he really likes, and that's worked well, right? But in this environment, maybe we cut that time frame down and we go in a little bit sooner. Like a shorter date time frame, to be more nimble is what I'm saying. It's similar to what you're saying. Like you don't have to put the trade on all the time, and if we could do a shorter, we could be in the trade shorter amount of time, that's probably better off. So even if you've put a trade on, um, and you've collected most of the money, but you're like, you're waiting, like, okay, I need to make a little bit more on this trade. I have some more gas to, I got a little bit more. But if you're taking most of it, I would probably say, hey, take it out, get out,
You just said
reassess.
what I was thinking. I think you take your profit a little bit earlier in this situation, in this scenario,
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
just a little bit more nimble all the way around.
Hmm.
The time frame of your trades, how many trades you put on, when you get in, because we like to be methodical, to make it simple, right? Like, hey, if I'm going to do 8 layups, okay, I'll do two every week. Two, 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 two. But maybe not. Maybe in this situation, maybe we don't do that. Maybe we do three and three and or leave off or something, or leave some morning in cash or whatnot. But just to be a little bit more nimble, take your profits a little bit sooner and go in a little bit, get out a little sooner as well,
Yep.
and keep protecting yourself. So, um,
Yeah, I
but
mean, you can still reach your monthly goal, whatever the trade number it is. You just have to, depending on how it's moving each week, maybe you hold off 1 week, right? And you do more next week or whatnot.
right.
Uh,
I mean, an example is that like is the banks. The banks were doing great for maybe a month or so. They had their earnings, and they all went down. Why? Because Trump said, "Oh, we should cap, interest rates at 10% on credit cards." So all the banks did bad,
yeah.
and they
Mhm.
haven't recovered because of that issue. But until then, they were doing great. They were, the trades were working. So if you were selling puts or put spreads or you were long or whatever, it was great. And then they're out. Even though earnings was great, they beat on earnings, but still, this one thing is overhanging that whole area, that whole sector, and it's pushing it
It's
down.
projecting out when he says that, right? So it's like the market's always looking ahead, of course, right? So you can kind of see that happening. So they're positioning themselves for that.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is that in the past, he would say stuff and people would laugh. I don't think anybody's laughing anymore. Like now, when
Uh,
he says something, you have to be like, okay, he's not a fool. He's actually planning this and he's got some way to make this happen. I don't
in
think he's
my
just
mind,
saying stuff.
in my mind, since we went into Venezuela so abruptly, no one really saw that, right? That would happen so quickly.
It was
I
built
think
up though. I mean, they were
it
building
was, but
up.
I
They
think
moved the
people,
whole Pacific Fleet there, and it was like,
yeah, but in people's mind, at least in mine, I was like, is he gonna go in there and maybe?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. That was like a bluff,
Actually did
right?
it, you know? I think people were caught off guard with that because we're still in the like, yeah, he's not gonna, surely we're not gonna go into another country and just pull out the
Because that's the
leader.
opposite of what he was saying all the time, right? He was like, we need to stop the wars. We need to get out of these countries. We need to stop spending money. Um, and now it's like Venezuela is not like a big drug capital of the world, you know? Like there are more
Yeah,
drugs coming from other places.
yeah.
So it didn't make a lot of sense. But there's more to the plan. I think we need to read that book. The books the Republican came out with, the plan. I forgot what the name of the book is called. Um, Jeez,
Who came out with?
the Republicans.
Oh, okay.
Um, you know, they had and they have an entire agenda. Like for Trump's second term, they actually published the book.
Right,
Like
and who reads it,
every
right?
everything they want to do. I think we need to freaking read that book and figure out, okay, what's next? What
Yeah.
else are they going to be planning? Because they're telling us.
Yeah,
Uh,
he brought that up, I think, in his one of his press conferences. Like he was like, okay, well, this is, what we're gonna do. And he kind of went through it like, oh yeah, we did this and this and this, and it's like, oh wow.
and he's getting it done.
Yeah.
Um, so that might be the playbook. Like, okay, this is what's going to happen in the future. So I don't think anybody's laughing anymore. And I think, yeah, everybody. So when he's saying we need Greenland, there might be something there. So I would probably continue to be long, defensive stocks, and anything related to Greenland or Europe, I might not want to be in right now. You know,
Yeah. It's
so
we're definitely taking him seriously for sure.
yeah. Cool beans. All right. So with that said, you want to check the SmackDown?
Yep, have it ready.
All right. Oh, oops, I gotta let you share, not me. All right, there we go.
All right. All right, here we go. Make this a little bigger.
Mhm.
There we go.
Okay, I think I see Hecla at 16.6% in the lead.
In the lead.
Let's see. Connor, you went back to zero, man. You were up. Oh man.
He's playing the long game.
Let's see here. Coinbase is down 10%. First Solar's back down. That was up, I think. Palantir's down 9. In second place, we have AMD at 10%. MGen is up. CVX is only up 0.7. That's
Yeah,
weird because Valero and Exxon are hitting all-time highs.
yeah, let me check.
Um, MDLN barely up. A-Lab down 8%. Nvidia's down. O'Reilly Auto Parts doing good. Oh, that I don't know if that's a. It looks like it might be a threshold coming up on O'Reilly. I don't know if it's ever been to 100
Maybe
before.
see. I want to take a look at it.
And then
Yes, CVX is 166.50 right now.
which one?
CVX.
CVX. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Well, as we've been talking, the market's really jumped quite a bit.
Oh wow.
The SPX is pushing up on 100.
I
The
did
Dow
not
Jones
see
up
that. It's
another 755. We've just been talking and the world's been
we've been
moving
talking.
up.
The world's been changing.
Yeah, look at this.
What's going on? It's up 1.5% now.
Yeah. Wow.
Something happened. Let's see. Check the news. Why are we up? Trump calls off the tariffs.
Did you just say that or you just found
No,
that?
that's the news.
Oh,
Trump
well,
calls off Europe tariffs related to Greenland.
wow. So they've been talking over there, just like we erased all that fear yesterday, right?
So he says that he has reached a Greenland deal framework with NATO.
Hmm. Wow, look at see how we're talking about change and we're going right through this show and boom, just like that. That's the
Yep. And so that tells me that we're probably going to be having another market power day. Let's
yep,
see.
the upside today.
And yes, 1.7. Strong day today. Strong power day.
Does that mean we'll be down another? He'll change his mind tomorrow and we'll be down another. That's how it goes these days. Hold on to your britches.
All righty. Well, it's been good, but it's not good for everything. Everything's not. Netflix is still down. They had earnings yesterday. GEV is still down. Let's see here. Silver is still down. Or gold was up, but now it's basically flat. Um,
Look at Micron up 27 today.
Yikes. 7.5%.
Wow.
Yeah, all-time
Everything's up.
high. And that one's almost at 400. So lots of lots of companies doing well. And lots of companies that are not doing well. The Russell, the small caps, are actually outperforming the S&P so far this year.
Yeah. That's been interesting.
Yeah. So they've underperformed the last few years. This year, they're actually doing better. And most of those companies don't make any money. The companies
Yeah,
on the Russell,
they're
a
like
lot of them.
they're zombie dead. you
They
know?
don't make money. They're not dead, but they
I mean,
just
they're
don't.
dead, but they're sleeping compared to everything else.
Yeah, they're not making any money. But yeah, because of, you know, foreseeable interest rate cuts, they're outperforming this year. Interesting. Cool beans. All right, folks. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. And yeah, anything else?
No, we're in the middle of the week and we'll see you Friday.
Alrighty.